Seoul. We're Unit 1, Catherine and Fabrizio. Our unit is called K-Beats, Walking, Observing, and Designing the Chronotypes of Seoul. Our unit's based on the idea that cultural expectations around time and speed, what we call chronotypes, have an impact on the built environment. We observe that Seoul has a dual condition of fastness and slowness. And by fast, we mean high density, high speed, and new, while by slow, we mean sparse, small, or natural or historical.
In terms of methodology, we use the critical walking as an immersive experience of the city. So we borrowed the research methods from the activist and architect group Stalker.
Sorry, Fabrizio, to interrupt, but I just see the desktop.
Yeah, we don't have images.
Oh, you don't have okay, okay. Then it's all good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I hope you understand.
No problem. I thought there was a technical issue. Okay, please go on.
Thank you for saying that, because maybe other people were guessing the same. Probably. So we borrowed the research methods from Stalker, which, by the way, Patrick is an expert because he's writing a doctoral thesis on them. They used this method called transurbans. And so it's basically a critical practice that uses walking to register the transitional unmapped spaces in the city. So in groups of 2 or 3 students, we asked them to walk, observe, and record the sites of their interest with smartphones, with smartphone camera. And basically they produced a lot of material. We have like hundreds of shots, hours and hours of footage that they distilled in 2-3 minutes films and a response sketch. Before starting, we want to thank you, thank all the students for the incredible work that you did. And we can start with the first group. The project focuses on the performance of the city, and so the way, in particular, focusing on the transportation. So they noticed that the way we observe the city and the speed that we use to observe the city actually changes the perception of it.
We can see that.
Can you see the screen right now?
Black screen.
Black screen. Patrick?
I can see it, yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you. You should use this.
Hi, I'm Chizuki.
That is to Park. I'm Yunguhan.
Our project started from the idea that we could better understand the chronotypes of the city by investigating the movements of the people and therefore the city's transportation systems. By recording videos on trains, buses, and by foot, we realized that we felt a different kind of connection to the city depending on the speed.
When we walked, we realized that there were so many details that we missed while being on the train or the bus. And we think that experiencing these details is essential to participating in the construction of the city's life and culture. So we are proposing to hack an infrastructure represented by Seoul's vastness into a space where it can make more slowness in the city. So this is the first map of Seoul, and this shows the elements that were dominated by the vastness of Seoul. And we will present our thinking of how to hack existing elements. First, we think about bridge. Bridge can be transformed into various spaces. This image is Bridge Museum, drive-through museum. Direction of bridge column. Column can be used as a rock climbing bridge and also museum. This is stop bridge. Changing the bridge's face. Bridge can be camping spot or parking spot. Second, we think about the bus, changing the function of bus. Bus can be movie theater or cafe or anything. Changing function of bus station. Bus station work as a resting place. And then third, we think about the train. Train is similar to bus. A train compartment can have various programs in it. This is railway stage. Railway can be stage of performers. Last, we think about building. Unpredictable public space in building. For example, one building looks like a farm, but it has some public space like park or library in it. An alley in the building, there is no mechanical elements in the building. The route feels like maze and alley. Bridge between the buildings. When we use these bridges, we can see another view of sky and city. Print flyer facade. This facade gather advertising things from the street. And then we made a concept collage. This is the concept collage, and we are gonna try to develop the way of hacking. And thank you for listening.
I think we will introduce the method of discussion. So we were thinking about talking now with them for 10 minutes, and then we move to the next group. So now we will discuss the work of this group for 10 minutes, and then we move to the next group. We have 3 groups in our unit, so it covers more or less 1 hour. Thank you. So if anybody has questions for the students.
Could you explain the result you did it here and all the sketch you did? How related with your video you showed us first time?
The left side of video was we are filming in the bus, and when we taking a bus and looking at the outside, and we can miss many things, like for example
Maybe you want to show a portion of the video. So
maybe we can't see these cigarettes when we are on the bus, and this scene can make us feel connect more with city, and the sketches are okay.
So, in my understanding, that's why you put all the shops in the bus, is it right? Because you're missing in the bus. Yeah. Our unit also really loves straightforward linear story. But this is, I think this is stepping too straight, I think, like, because you're missing the shops and the bus, so you're really chopped into the buses, like, that's, yeah, I don't know. Is it my right?
I guess that the operation is metaphorical at this stage. Yes. They understood that there is an infrastructure of fastness, and they, by creating a moment of slow in the city. So these sketches you saw are just like the first iterations of what it can be hacking at the infrastructure of fastness. We hope we can develop these ideas more in detail.
So sketch is not a like kind of proposal for architecture, which a real sketch and
I think sketching is like a method to deploy some kind of rapid ideas. So they did these things very fast last night. Because for who is not familiar with montage, creating videos, this required work. So they didn't have so much time, honestly, to develop a proposal. This was their response, which I think it's meaningful, and maybe you have some ideas about how these ideas can be developed in the next 5 days, and you can tell us. We can talk about them. You want to add something?
Well, actually, I also have a question. Well, maybe it's a bit silly, maybe where you mentioned it or I missed it. But however, just wonder that, okay, I mean, I get the point of the left side and right side, but why do we see the repetitive scene and as well as the sound? Actually, to be honest, at the beginning, I was expecting some kind of, you are making some kind of, I don't know, like, since I could hear the sound, like repetitive sound, so I was thinking that maybe it can be something, or I don't know, but yeah, just wondered what is it? What is the specific reason for that?
The reason why we repeat the left side videos while the right side video, but it is the same distance to move, but left side the bus means our daily life, and it's repeat and repeat again, so we feel boring and just circulate for and the right side on walk means we can find something interesting or something new in our to by the slow down. So we repeat the videos, but it can be annoying or
But I think that is the reason why you want to be annoying by the pose.
Yeah.
To give the idea that it's like an animated feeling, being like this fast run. So it's perfect what you're saying.
Okay.
So like they felt that there's more connection with city by watching and by having this sort of slow pace.
if I understood right, it seems like you guys are intending to like slow down and like discover something that we couldn't have seen when it was fast. And like at the end, like you showed us the collage image, and like I saw like some kind of playful mood from there. And so like by slowing down and trying to seek something new, like do you have like any more intent for after that? Like when it slows down, you want to like have some kind of intention to change into some playful mood. And if you like are thinking of changing making playful mood, like then is there any like device or like any thoughts of how you're going to make the mood more playful or something like that?
I don't know. I understand correctly, but our in sketch and collage images means the fastness. It means the fastness of soul or something. So we can hack and change the function or designs, and the space can be a place which where feel or slow down. That's what we intend. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, because like in the collage image, like I saw many like interesting elements. Like I saw the image of climbing or like kids playing a skateboard. So I was thinking if that has some kind of meaning, like if there's meaning on that kind of images.
We draw this collage after doing this sketches, so we have to gather together, and maybe this climbing things can be the images of this one, the left side. The column of the bridge can be used as a rock climbing bridge. That's why we made like this.
Thank you.
So is the intention to slow down or to hack things moving at a speed to a different pace?
Maybe we can hack the speed, or maybe we can hack the speed and together we can get the place or function to be slowed down.
Okay, so your intention is to slow down in general.
Yeah.
Because what I think is quite interesting is that you have these 3 different paces of recording, and they all show different things, and you think slowing down is the goal, right? And I think there is something that you can explore in that specific thing. Like you're looking at 3 different paces, which are for 3 different sceneries, basically. But then you're talking about an agenda. Maybe they can drive design methods.
Please give me a second.
There's no right and wrong. Just say what you think.
To be honest, I can understand the question.
It wasn't a question, it was a comment. Just saying that, like, if you think slowing down is the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Then you already have an agenda, right?
I guess we also we have responsibilities because we set this in the brief by saying that the trend in Korea, especially in the young Soulites, of searching for moments of slowness. And so during our conversations, they said that in their opinion, there is like the fast-paced capitalist city is dominant in Seoul. And so it's needed the rethinking of the city by including or by balancing moments of fastness with moments of slowness. This is what they responded. This is their response to our brief.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for
I don't know
elaborating.
if Catherine, you want to add something.
Yeah, and I guess the idea of hacking comes into play partly as a kind of way to make you even more aware that this space for slowness is being taken out of what might be otherwise a fast space. So there's a kind of confrontation between the two and not necessarily a parallel existence, let's say.
Maybe, oh, sorry.
Is when
And
I
I got a common question. Maybe it might to the tutors as well. So definition of the slow and fast is first one, we're a little bit confusing. And I understood that like in the brief, I think it can be something like that because like I expected that like maybe student will define in their terms the slowness in their project or fastness, whatever. And what I want to ask like is like without that kind of definition, how do you judge your project and how are you going to manage your project to going to next step? Because like I want to ask like why do you want to make the fast thing into slow? Like is the slow is better than fast pace in to group one? Why do you want to like mix it or like is slow is better than fast? Like that's my like general question to tutors and students as well.
and
They should answer.
There's two things, so there's two parts to it. I think one part is, as Fabrizio mentioned, we had kind of set up in the beginning that there's this new trend of people who are looking for slow spaces. I think that kind of, in a way, directed in some ways whether you'd prefer fast or slow. But in the case of this group, I think this was also their observation as they did this walk, that they missed a lot and felt much more free to navigate the city in a very different way than when they took the bus, which was very quick and you have no choice where you can go. So it allowed them to engage with the city in a different way. And so in a way, in their view, they saw fastness as a dominant rhythm in the city, and therefore there's some need for slowness to be interjected into the city.
May I propose a suggestion?
The definition of fast and slow.
Patrick, please.
Yeah, I want to propose a suggestion that might clear the confusion, because I was also not sure about the term hacking, because it didn't seem to me that you were hacking anything, but actually, and also maybe as a next step, because I think everything is there, but I would just continue with this last slide and actually do what you're showing here, actually hack the city. If you can skateboard on a place, on a site that is not supposed to be used for skateboarders. It might be a bit dangerous on a highway, but or even more radical, take a blanket and some food and do a picnic on the motorway. This would be a radical intervention to hack and at the same time slow down the city. I don't know if that's in accordance with what your tutors have in mind, but it would be an interesting way to take the proposal to a next step.
Can students take more footage?
But yes, I think if there is something. Time is short, but it's time. But if there is something that is really needed, they can continue to. This is our method, walking in the city, trying to understand things. Maybe they are reprocessing what they saw, and because this can be like a method that involves like many different and requires a lot of time to actually identify the ones that we thought were the transitional spaces that can give us a sort of glimpse about of the future of the city. So to identify these transitional spaces that are not mapped yet, it takes time. And given the nature of this summer school, that we don't have time, I think they needed to speculate in order to arrive to this concept. But yes, definitely there is a space, there is room for new footage, there is room for new walking. We are not giving limits to them.
Because what I think, now I kind of understand the disparity that I perceived initially, which I think is the actual pace of speed and the actual pace of activities they proposed. So I think, because I saw like a cafe on a bus, and it's not going to slow down a bus, you will still see, you know, at the speed the bus is going, just with a slower activity. So I think if students record in accordance with their own definition of fast and slow, so like if they're talking about fast nightlife, or you know, like having to eat lunch really quickly, or you know, all these things, or the actual speed, I think that could be quite helpful.
I think that in some ways also when we set these two dimensions in the brief, we were not sure about the definitions of fastness and slowness, because you can assign so many different meanings to that. It can be the city that changes very fast. It can be the train that goes very fast. It can be the fast life, eating like a sandwich on the go. So it can be many different things, but I think they all represent some kind of a culture of the city. And in this sense, I think they are trying to respond to this, and you can perceive this culture of the city by walking through it. This is the main idea.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because of the speed. It is a huge parameter to affect urban kind of landscape. And for example, like in LA, in like next to highways, you have like billboards, like almost like building heights, right? So like all of this, because of the things that you can absorb in different speed modes, you see different things, right? So if you, by changing that, I'm pretty sure you are changing the landscape of, or you kind of influence certain things. For example, if we make the highways to slow down, then probably we don't no longer need all these billboards. And maybe instead we'll see all these small kind of stickers on the wall, yeah, or graffiti. So something like that. I think it will be also very really interesting to think about whatever you're proposing in this kind of hacked kind of insertion to the urban, but how this insertion is like influencing like a bigger kind of, yeah, in a bigger way to the urbanism. Yeah, and I think it's kind of really exciting to imagine it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we believe that there are no real scales, but everything is interconnected. So even like a very minimal intervention can have like a giant impact on the city. And I don't know if you want to add something else. Maybe we can move to the next group. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chan, and my name is Seun Lim. We try to feeling our speed go outside. We feeling something. Our project look at the relationship between behaviors and construction material. We worked around the city and we noticed that there are cultural expectations attached to material, and this in some way affect the speed around them. Let's watching video now. So from the video, some part of the city in Seoul, we observed that people tend to move slow on stone and wood structure or objects, while steel and plastic structure seem to be deployed in fast-paced settings. For our project, we propose to use different kinds of material in contrast to original material to change the atmosphere of the site and how people can respond differently from the changed condition of the site. This is the concept drawing, and we chose scaffolding of construction site, which represents the fast pace of the city. The scaffolding, we think the scaffolding is built fast and removed real quick after the construction is finished. So what we are trying to show from this drawing is that by changing the material of the scaffolding, people might not see this as just the construction site, but it can become some structure that people can react to it. And even after the construction is finished, some part of the scaffolding can remain as the part of the building and it can last longer than it's used to. Thank you very much.
When you think about a way to use a material to change the speed of humans' behavior in the city, and the material here you think more as a finished material or as a structural material here?
We think it can be both.
In that case, the scaffolding you have here, because it's like the stone and steel it serves its own, like the real function is how the stone is made, and then how like, construction work, how do we really actually use stone to construct this scaffolding, how we use the steel, and would those inform different kind of geometric features? Another kind of scaffolding. Another side, it's just like everything is same, the homogeneous kind of structure, but applies different materials. Not just the structure itself is really fragile. So no matter what kind of finish is on top, you still feel really you need to work really slowly. So not really the material itself not really changing the behavior.
So first, for the geometry part, I think, so we're just trying to propose the material to show that it might be like possible to like just change the environment. So this is just the concept drawing. So we're not actually thinking about how it can be built into real construction, not a real construction. So it's just to show the idea that we're going to show from this after part of our summer school. Does it answer the question?
But still on my part, how that show the concept on like scaffolding. To me, scaffolding is quite homogeneous things, as each floor is the same, but just only show the different property things. So would you mention about how that actually you try to use, how we treat it, how the relations between the two different material, how we transition it may be half, but just you mentioned this just conceptual drawing, but it's quite difficult to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So, yep. Let me
know the more information about your plan to next 3-4 days.
I also think that yes, it kind of like so detailed design process. So it doesn't like really show how people can actually get to the material. So I think yes, this drawing is still is like lack of some information. I understand, but yes, we're trying to show the different object in the sea. They can be like made into steel or plastic that people just unnoticed while they're walking around, or they're just responsive to those objects. So we're trying to change that kind of trend to people to show actually look at how city there's something in the city components. So we're just I think we're just kind of show that the idea that we're going to do something more like that. Yes, I think that's
I just wanted to add that in this project, there's the behavioral speed, but there's also an element of consumption of construction materials, which have more to do with the urban metabolism. And I think that's probably why scaffolding was chosen. But in our discussions, it's not on the image yet, but we were talking about some parts of this, what's ordinarily a temporary scaffolding becoming a permanent part of the building. And in a way, I think this metabolism of material use is what attaches the meaning as well to like why people might feel compelled to move more slowly in certain stone and wood buildings, partially because those are the buildings that have lasted for a long time in a city like Seoul. So there's, I think I guess the effects create the meaning. And I think one kind of challenge of this project is that the material doesn't necessarily determine behavior, but in a way we're trying to kind of grapple with what is it exactly that might compel someone to slow down versus move fast.
That materiality, that's where my question lies. Because from the video, it's obvious in the video that the stone path and shows the slowness, and metal door it shows the fastness. But is it really always like that? That is my question. Is, for example, on the top of the scaffolding, there's plastic, but is the, like, for example, biodegradable plastic different? Is it more slow? My question to students is how do you connect slowness and fastness with those materials? I think there must be a note behind it.
so. I think the reality is really different, but it just we're trying to make assumption of what we have observed from the video, and we're trying to from the video we're kind of trying to make some logic between the video to the proposal that we are going to show from this half of the semester. I think yes, it just I understand the material will that doesn't really like show the slow and fast, and it can be different from the people that knows the real speed. So I think what I'm trying to say is just we're trying to we're trying to make some assumption. We make assumption from the video, and we're trying to show the design proposal from the video of the remake and kind of it's like experiment way of seeing the different aspect of city. Yes.
In a video, I'm not really convinced by the material is a real trigger to influence people's behavior in the space, because the material is being different material being used in different space. So in the video, I see some people is sitting under a bridge and on stone materials, but maybe it's a space let them slow down, but not the material itself. So what if you have a video to show same material being applied in different space, or same space at two different materials? Does that really change how people use it? And then if the same space can have different materials, and then through your video we can see people only work on specific material because of the comfortableness of the materials, then I will be more convinced by the video. Because in the video, I can feel is more about changing the space. If you don't have title of materials, I cannot really see the materials plays a really huge role in the videos.
I just want to give a brief intro to this group because this group's work is more about challenging the methodology that we proposed, which is to walk through the city and use your body as a vehicle to sense and record and discover new things. But at the same time, we asked them to video document this walk using their own camera, and this group will talk about it more, but they wanted to challenge the methodology itself, so it's not necessarily so much about speed, but about the brief itself.
So as you just heard, we approached the unit method by challenging the methodologies itself. We found an inherent conflict between the two asks to explore the city using the body and recording through a camera, which inevitably mediates the walk itself. So we created in a way a new device to film, gather information in a more unfiltered way. And by filtered and unfiltered, filtered view, we established that the filtered view of the camera would be the one that would be controlled by your conscious. So the rest would be explained in the video.
What do you want? Let's wait for you. Was it not on? Okay, so from the gathering of our research, we came to the conclusion that through the unfiltered views, we can get a deeper depth of information. And so I think it's safe to say that this could translate to the fact that if we drift away from our daily perspectives, we could reach a deeper depth of information about the city and also a more objective one too. So we wanted to share this to the city as an experience rather than a video or footage. So in order to achieve this, we wanted to propose an architectural device, something that can mirror reflect what the unfiltered device did for us in the research. So if you see here in the drawing, we added a ramp here as a primary example, just to show that
an architectural device that can drive you away from your daily perspectives. But of course, there's a problem that architecture inevitably becomes a daily sequence. So that was our main problem. So our main priority is to make an architectural device that can consistently and passively show the sequences, show unexpected sequences. Thank you.
Was it important to have because you had a skill view, you were standing and shooting for a while. I wonder why you do that, and I thought I would love to see like a sequence that you wear all this together. You have four. Same time, you know. So I thought like I would like to see that because it's so different. It's such an interesting perspective. You never see a world from the shoulder, you know. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. What was your thinking about the positions of your body and also the speed? Because I feel like when this like bag was like shaking a lot, so like even you're doing the same thing, but you're changing the view of and the speed of the perspective. And I feel like that's kind of really regular thing they analyze different kind of postures and perspectives can really change the vision. Yeah, that's why I was wondering if you can be a little bit more rigorous to compare those things. What do you think?
Okay, so well, first for the reason we took the let's use the word consistently, filtered shots as still shots were because well, of course, where there are instances where we are walking as we are filming, but most of the time while we are walking, we discover something that is interesting, and then we stand in place and then take a picture or a short video. I think that was the more common instance, and that was why we used still or very static images as filtered shots. And well, we thought that we did go through the idea of filming the actual person walking with cameras attached to their body, but actually that was a very trivial issue because the phones kept falling off. So we had to distribute the cameras to not just one person. Yeah, so I think that would be a very good, if we had a kind of more stable mount, I think that would be a very good idea. And about the shots, we wanted to somehow remove the human, say, interference from how the cameras were shot. So the other shots there, the angles are all different, the velocity is all different. That is because we just stuck the cameras to our shoulders or the hand, or we were somehow dangling them so that they would be shot at ground level. So they are completely random in a way that we were trying to show and see for ourselves how the cameras would react when there is the least human interference and while taking the shots.
As I understand that you suggest you maybe try to make one perspective section. Right? So as you see, that you show like one single point perspective. Right? So we have to be aware how we view the idea to the architecture device. So at the moment, it's quite difficult to get it. Actually, the slope is actually working for the quite difficult to imagine how it actually works. So I think, I don't know, but if I were you, I try to using, I mean, maybe invent new techniques for this type of joints, whatever it is, to generate diversity. For instance, like a multi-point joint kind of thing, or maybe wide, that they accept like a sectional dimension kind of thing. So it is all different type of devices.
So if I understood right, you were suggesting that we use drawing also as another method of interpreting the information of the law.
Otherwise, this conventional way is very difficult. That's what we should. You already mentioned it. Your experiment, that means you need to. We like the way you show the video and simulate the city in different way. Like you force people to see the view you usually like do not see. And so, but in terms of the you try to convert the concept to some real construction or a device. I feel even though you move people in different level on the street, but still I can have control on what I want to looking at. So could it be a device like people walking in a very narrow like close space, and at the same time you use frame view or some like force perspective to change your behavior or change how you look at certain things. Maybe you have windows force people to only can look down or only can look up, and then just a way to I don't know, just express what's your finding or discovery through the filming practice.
So this is a little bit, I think this topic is really interesting, but I think it is a bit difficult somehow, to be honest. We started it as he explained, we started this experiment, this project, because we thought there had to be an innate discrepancy between how we would actually experience the world, the space, the city, without any devices in our hand, or while we had to film those things. And I think we captured a lot of material in the video that showed there are rather, I think it will be better to explain that as differences in perspective that that those kind of methods were capturing. Okay. So also, because there were like a big difference in the information, and I don't think it was our place to say what was positive or negative. So maybe through further research, we might have accomplished that, but right now we don't really have a say in that. So we thought that maybe trying to show this and give the experience to the people, maybe they might be in the place to judge. For example, of course in Nichiro, the streets are pretty much littered, but you don't really perceive it as the most littered street in Seoul. But if you take a look at some of the video footage where it was on the ground, you could actually see nothing but the litter. There was a sequence when there was nothing but the litter. So maybe by differentiating the perspectives, there can be things that people can see to actually change their behavior maybe, or so we just want to make them go through the experience that we went through. I'm not sure if that was the answer was sufficient. Maybe we can see it in the way that I believe our tutor mentioned a while ago that some in related to the movies that we can use some architectural skills or proposals to somehow fill the gap or reproduce what was missing in the movies. And I think it can be seen that way because we can't actually get in everything that is going on while through walking through the city, and it somehow the image gets reconstructed in our mind, and there has to be some things that are common, some things that were missing. So I think we might be able to use a proposal so that people can fill their own gaps where whatever it is, that would be different because everybody, even with the video, I think it is what the video is trying to say is that people will see different things if they are are filtered or the unfiltered shots. But even the unfiltered shots, what people see through them will be all different. I think that is some important point we have to think about.
I didn't understand because I'm not good at speaking English, but professor said technology and a device and machine is significant discussion in question, but I thought this unit covers walking, observing, and photo documentation. But I when I studied this unit, I studied this unit first time. I thought photo documentation is chosen by how to record city or record other people's in the city. So mobile device is very important. Very important discussion point in our group. So we spend a lot of time in how to record our observing. So when we discussed about the observing and documentation with mobile device, we have a lot of different ideas about how choosing the angle or which device is good for which device is satisfied with each member. So Gangmin was and first of all my opinion about mobile devices, how mobile device can be used for observation in walking around the city. So Oh, that is not prepared. Sorry. Uh, 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 oh, so my choice was choice about mobile device when we walk around the city is just take photo or videos in focus of interesting things or just impressive to me. So that is my habits in this. So I just I chose take photo and videos like ordinary people in the city. Judging and chose like professors that automatic record like setting the camera and he didn't see at all and Gangwin chose different perspective and angles with automatic record and taking photo and videos. Yeah.
Patrick, thank you for joining, and thanks to everybody,
Thanks
all
for
the
having
jury
me.
members. Patrick, we talk later. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.